especially when I remember when we were writing down the Data Protection Act and privacy laws, discussion with World Bank team, there were a lot of discussion related to this specific point as well. So the discussion was wherever it is required, you can always come up with several agreements with those countries in terms of cooperation and coordination efforts, how the data will be moved cross-border. So mainly, our concern is to create a data center, to create a solution for our government data to be stored locally within Maldives. In terms of solutions, like for example, Office 365 or Microsoft services that you may be using, that may not conflict with data sovereign cloud. So that is completely not an issue as long as it does not contradict with the regulations related to data protection.
I would like to point out that most of the government agencies do store most of their critical data in the cloud already. So if you take any agreements that you have with anyone, all the bills, any payment data, users' personal data, employee data. So apart from the platforms that we have locally, one cover or another, there are, if you look at anybody's file server, right, that is where most of the files are located, or SharePoint. And for mails, those are official mails that you exchange between governments. Some of them are top secret, some of them are very secret, and open ones as well. So I'm not mentioning the solutions that we use. There are obviously alternative solutions, but the ecosystem itself, hosting them in the cloud. And you mentioned data moving agreements and everything, which doesn't matter because we are already storing them outside. We don't, like I mentioned, Microsoft, as far as I know, do not have a cloud presence in the Maldives. So.
Yes, of course, we are going in the direction where, tech companies can come into the country and provide their services in our, tier data centers. So, of course, our service providers are doing a wonderful job to build, our tier 4 data centers. Ooredoo and Iraq has already established that. They have the capacity, of course, when the legal framework is there in establishment, they have the security to come and, of course, invest in Maldives. At that time, maybe the protection laws indicates that, our data, Microsoft data, or our email systems needs to be, situated in our borders. If that is the case, they will come and, implement their solutions, establish their, infrastructure in the country, and of course they will serve us. So we are going in that direction. Hopefully, with everything in place, it will be in the very near future.
Thanks.
Any further questions? I see one over there.
Hi, NCT, it is mentioned in the it is mentioned in the presentation that NCT data centers is going to host in platforms. So my question is, like an organization like us, Ministry of Health, we cannot host our services till NCT servers are ready. So my question is, how do you plan to ensure that requests are catered promptly and urgently? My question is that, my question is like Ministry of Health, how are you ready to ensure that requests are attended urgently? You have mentioned that you are going to host in platforms and you are consolidating budgets, agency budgets, in order to save millions. So my question is, when you are consolidating agency budgets, how are you ready? How do you plan to ensure that requests are catered urgently and promptly to all agencies?
Yeah, actually, this is we have a roadmap for this one. Actually, this is actually 18 months. Schedule is indicated as you've seen before. Of course, we need to develop these systems in place. So with this, of course, we will be working with the our finance, Ministry of Finance and so forth. How the government is going to be working with MDES in the future to do consolidation and build robust data centers to serve everyone. With that in place, of course, the opportunity that you are seeking will be in existence. And of course, with the consolidation, this will happen. So it will take some time. We will be there. We will help you, build these data centers. And then, of course, you will get the benefit out of it in the long run.
Thank you. I have one more question. What are NCT plans, or does NCT have any plans to create VPC-based cloud solution in NCT data center to cater for industry-specific storage standards such as HIPAA, health-specific standards?
Could you repeat the question?
What are NCT plans, or does NCT have any plans to create VPC-based cloud solutions in NCT data center to cater for industry-specific data exchange and data storage standards such as HIPAA, health-specific standards?
I think I understand what your requirement is. Usually, many organizations, what they try to do is through a lot of donor budgets, they try to create their own data centers wherever they are able to. And this is happening because most of the projects that is worked on by different agencies are independent projects. And although NCIT is running in their own data center, there is no specific law, there is no specific governance where it prevents you from creating your own data center. In some cases, it may even be required to have a separate data center. When I say data center, I didn't mean a single location. A data center can be distributed. A data center can be multiple locations, but it has to be, in our terminology, it is under one governance body, whereby they define where the data centers are and how it is, how the resources are managed. So if that is the case, even for Ministry of Health, for example, for requirements, right now what is happening is you are creating your own data centers because there are some requirements that are defined by the projects that those requirements must be met in the data center. And because of the budget constraints, these separate budgets are allocated for those data centers. However, when it was mentioned in the presentation that it will save a lot of money for agencies, the idea is, yes, if we can coordinate and if we allocate these budgets to create a government sovereign cloud where you can invest, we can invest, and anyone else also can invest to create this infrastructure, then you will have the capacity and capability to sign up and create whatever type of resources you want through the data center. A modern data center has the capability to give you this capability. But as long as agencies are running their own data centers, their own budget, we are not going to have that capacity. So the idea is to build that capacity together, whereby the government data center can allocate resources to a specific agency whenever they need, and that will allow us to grow faster.
So, any questions? Yeah, the one in the middle and Finance Ministry, yes.
Hello, I'm Najis from Mira. I think Nais may also ask the same question. So we run our own data centers. I think there is a law requirement for us also to store the data and keep the taxpayers' data confidential. And so moving forward, I think both of Mira and Ministry of Finance also we want to migrate to SAP new version and use those new services because our systems are going outdated and unsupported, and we are also on the edge of our hardware going out of support. So we have that requirement that we need new data centers which supports the cloud native services. So our one option is to go for cloud services like Google or Microsoft or Amazon and use those services. Because currently, as Samuel said, we are also using the Microsoft services like for our email, OneDrive and SharePoint and all those things. So we also consider to move to the cloud services, but yes, we agree that if we have a data sovereign cloud here in Maldives, that will be the best option. And the difficulty for us is do we wait for this data center to come to a reality, or do we migrate to cloud environment and then come back from that country's data center to our own national data center? So where, do you have any timelines? When will this happen? So, and if the data center is owned by the MDS, does the MDS governs, do the MDS have the governance roles as well? Because we can't have one organization controlling the data and again having the governance as well. So we need to clear these things. If you have any timelines or any clearance on this, but can you share that?
Yeah, when it comes to immediate hosting requirements, we will need to think about the of course the international parties that provide this. So of course they have the the sovereign layer concept, where of course they define what will be, where you want to keep your data, which country, which geographical location you're going to choose. After that, of course, you will decide what are the conditions that the country needs to adhere to for them to keep our data. So in that aspect, of course, there are conditions. These things, of course, MDS will be looking into, if it fits to the compliance that, if you are moving with, one of these, cloud service providers. So when it comes to security, Dr. Naufal will, I believe, add something about if this is a doable solution or if this can be, in compliance to, of course, immediately if we can do something with that. Of course, the concept of data embassy is also there. So of course, if we can't build our data centers in more this, at a rapid speed, we can choose the option that Estonia has proposed, the data embassy. We need to find a secure location where Microsoft, where these all vendors exist, and we ask them to come and I would say furnish this particular data center in this particular location to host the solutions that these vendors are proposing, rather than keeping in a service provider's data center in a different country. Rather, in the jurisdiction of our territorial location in another country, we can choose that. We have the vendors in that country, we have the facilities, we have the resources, so easily we can get the after-sales services, support, etc. when we work in that aspect. So there are many solutions, of course, in the near future that we can look into. MBS, of course, definitely will be governing this, looking into it. Of course, NCIT has a lot of technical people there who's going to support this. Yeah, of course, when it comes to implementation, when it comes to guiding other organizations, we will leverage this. Maybe at the end of the day, NCIT may not do this. Actually, NCIT or MDS may not do this. Actually, there could be another entity coming into existence where the service provision can be offloaded to them. Then MDS will specifically work on regulations. Okay, but right now NCIT does all three. Okay, so maybe I think it's good. So it's a good way forward. Right now, we will use the resources at NCIT. We will use the facilities that we have, and then actually try to help out. Okay, provide these regulatory boards and people who looks into compliance can stay in a little bit sideline, but despite the physical works also may go up in parallel at MDS at the moment, maybe in the near future. In the long run, definitely this needs to be separated, segregated, and of course will be a separate entity in the long run. Now for about security, if this is a doable solution, please.
Thank you. So because there is NCIT presence here, I will not go into the details of answering that timeline, but there is this vision of us, I think, within the 2.0 discussion that we have to use available resources. And we had a very fruitful discussion with the two ISPs, Dirago and Uridu, and they said they have capacity. So when we're talking about sovereign cloud, the concept is that government in the long run not owning the data center, rather regulating the trust and enabling. So anybody, when they go through the process of that security trust measures, we have trusted cloud providers. So cloud in the sense means you're not owning your own data center, somebody else providing. So there is a very local cloud first approach discussion within the 2.0 before. So I think we are hopeful once some tangible solution will be coming through it. But in the longer run, like Hussein mentioned, that I think when it comes to critical national sensitive data, there has to have a national critical data center as well with regard to the classification. So right now the Cybersecurity Act and the Data Protection Act has been developed in a way that does not demand data residency. But with this pillar, what we are trying to do is, for example, build the regulatory bodies in such a way that strengthen the ecosystem so that there could be later providers who are trusted providers. For example, in the UAE, they have what's called a secure sovereign cloud layer developed by Core42 with Microsoft. So wherever it's in the Microsoft cloud, they can make sure through the Core42 sovereign layer that the data is actually something they can control. So this is expensive solution. We heard that Microsoft invested $1.5 billion for this solution by themselves. So if we can somehow through this ecosystem attract that kind of investment, we can have a data center from a hyperscaler, and then that solution is available. But rather than utilizing the resources in a particular way, we should also look into what is available in terms of the local existing data centers. A tier 4 data center or 3.5 data center is, I think, something which requires a lot of expenses. So utilize that first. So these are options that we should discuss. I think that is the opinion that I have separately from, as a security agency, that's the opinion I have. Hopes that answers some of the questions.
Next question, and then the gentleman at the back, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Nais from Ministry of Finance and Planning. Amira Najis actually asked the similar type of question, so to save some time, I'm not going to go into details. However, due to the urgency of our upgrade, we can't simply wait for all of this arrangement of sovereign cloud to be formed. Otherwise, we would be too late for our implementation to kick in. Therefore, we will go along with, maybe start the development system on the foreign cloud service provider. There are very stringent certifications needed by SAP to host S4HANA Private Cloud Edition. The data center has to be tier 3.5 and above. Only the Iraq has that certification at the moment right now. Uridu has tier 3.0 certification. The next requirement is that there must be presence of hyperscalers in that data center. Maldives has no hyperscaler available at the moment. To bring in a hyperscaler, I don't know how much effort is needed. Thirdly, having fulfilled the first two requirements, SAP runs certain certification program on that particular data center. So if we are building the sovereign cloud within our agencies or using or utilizing the service provider premises, data centers, then these three things must meet before we can even start talking about hosting S4HANA Private Cloud Edition. So that's why I think we are asking about the timeline, because we can't simply wait. Thank you.
That is a very valid concern, and it is completely fine actually, because if you remember during the discussion, one of the panel members earlier who was sitting in the cybersecurity panel, now from PGO, when he was mentioning, he said it's important that when we form regulations, we have to make sure that the public is ready, that the people who are going to be impacted by those laws and regulations, that they are ready for these laws to be regulated. So this is something we can always work out in the details of those regulations, whereby if the services cannot be hosted in the Maldives, we don't have any other option. And therefore, we have to make sure that we write down these details wherever exceptions are made. And there will be a lot of cases where the exceptions has to be made. And of course, once we are ready for such an implementation, we can rewrite down and upgrade our regulations related to those specific clauses.
Yeah, I think I'll make a joke out of this, because for us to, do any procurement or anything like that, SEP needs to be brought up, of course. So for SEP to be up, NICE needs to work a little bit faster and bring this on. Then only we'll think about it later.
Next question.
Yeah, so I have just one question. Do you guys have any plans to engage with local MSSPs on cybersecurity when you're designing the sovereignty cloud as well? Because I saw you guys are talking about data sovereignty, and there were not specifics about operational sovereignty or software sovereignty as well along with it. So are you open to the idea to, talk to the private sector as well and use their expertise?
This initiative actually is very much, also private sector driven. So we will need to be engaging with all private sector, actually see what we have in the country, and we'll work with all of you to come up with the best plan, best solutions that's available in the country.
Next question to the gentleman in the very front. Any other questions? Next would be Health Ministry, and then the gentleman at the back.
Thank you. Maybe this is just a comment. Since we are talking about secure and sovereign digital infrastructure, we also had a discussion yesterday about the trust, how we build the trust among the agencies. I think, and also we had many discussions about the systems being siloed. I think we as a human, we also work as silos. So first of all, in order to integrate our system, we need to integrate. If we integrate it, if we collaborate, we can build trust. Without that, we can't build trust. It's not about like asking questions whether the X agency, what are the 2 reasons that the X agency can be trusted. The question that we should ask is, what are the 2 reasons that the X agency should be trusted? I think that would be the way forward. So if we can create this synergy, if we can complement from one agency to the other agency, then we'll have better systems that can be trusted, that can be secured as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Health Ministry.
I think this is a very similar question like what Asna has asked, but still I just want to rephrase my question and ask. The only reason why siloed separate data centers might we want to have it is because some organizations might not have received the required support from NCIT. Especially, it was a case for Ministry of Health. So I know that there will be a lot of new plans and new strategies coming up. So what will be the new ways that you will be going to help us to support on this, especially for health being a very, we have a very sensitive data. Thank you.
I think the data center, if it is implemented as per these plans, for example, this is the first time we are planning, we are heading towards a direction where we are saying our government sovereign cloud, that we are going to have a data center that can grow easily, a data center that can cater to multiple agencies. We didn't have this focus before. We had a data center, Health Ministry might have a data center, Finance Ministry might have a data center, other organizations might have data centers, but the idea is the data center may not be ready for your requirement by this week, because your requirement just is coming this week itself, for example. So when your requirement is given to us in 1 week's time, we can't prepare a data center for your requirement. So that is the reason why it's always better to go and create a vision that is better for everyone, where the data center can support everyone. So if we can create a data center, we can go for a setup where we don't have to worry about that requirement, then surely we can cater for your requirement. Such a data center can exist, but it can only exist, as Dr. Wahid has mentioned, that if we all come together and we work together as a collective requirement, that we support, that we are on board to create such a data center, we are on board to give our requirements ahead of time, so that you can create a data center whereby these requirements are taken into considerations early. I think that will remove these kind of issues in the future.
Yeah, ensuring security is not an issue for NCIT. So actually, when it comes to resilience, Ministry of Health may not have an alternative data center where from the project funding, they may have a set of servers and place in a server room rather than a data center. The power protection system, the cooling system, everything is prone to fail. So definitely, you will need to, take the advantage of a facility such as NCIT to, with at least the least level of, our data center, tiering is only available for a government facility will be NCIT. Choose to have the physical infrastructure, data center infrastructure as leverage. Place your servers at NCIT. Get the physical, resilience that you need. Invest in 2 sets of equipments, and of course, you will have some sort of, security that you will want to. Because NCIT does not look at your data. NCIT only helps to host it for you.
The very last question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Now, I mean, it was a very good presentation by Shadra, and I feel this is a very ambitious project. If the sovereign data, and we can bring big terms over here, but the achievement to get into a private cloud that national private cloud, or maybe we can say national server room, or whatever it is, then my point is that where are we going to bring energy? I mean, a lot of energy will be consumed by these data centers. The data centers which are being built in elsewhere is also the main challenge is the energy. What is your plan for that?
Nowadays, actually, the equipments are shrinking. The power consumption has reduced, drastically. When we first, set up our NCIT data center, we had a bill that goes over 300,000 per month. This has been drastically reduced because the equipment shrunk. The footprint of the equipments that we need to do, heavy computing shrunk. So with that in place, of course, definitely the power consumption has reduced. Of course, we have renewable energy solutions, the cooling solutions that we can leverage in the future. That we can take the advantage of renewable technology, where the data centers can be cool with that. We can use. When it comes to power protections as well, the solar and things like that can be, implemented because we have, land in the sea. We can have solar panels, situated in the sea, and then do some, draw some power from that kind of technology as well. So of course, renewable energy will be considered when we, plan our new data centers, of course.
Thank you very much, audience members, for the wonderful questions, and thank you, panelists. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our panelists, and thank you, Dr. Shahuda, for moderating this discussion. Before we conclude the summit, please scan the QR and fill the feedback form to help us improve our future events. And as we bring the summit sessions to a close, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of you for your active participation over the past 2 days. Your insights, energy, and commitment have been instrumental in making the Maldives 2.0 Digital Transformation Summit a meaningful and impactful experience. Thank you once again for being a part of this important milestone. Thank you.